Disney's friends in the mainstream access media are declaring a big win for Rachel Zegler and Snow White. Is she the comeback kid? They say winning is all that's happening with Snow White on streaming. So is this a darling in the post-box office spread? Today we'll tell you whether or not Snow White has come back from the dead. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. As always, our job is to keep you ahead of that culture curve. And today, folks, we would be well served to say Happy Father's Day to all the good dads out there. And good dads out there, if you have some good kids, and I bet you do, be thankful for this day. Friends, if you have a dad in your life or a male figure of leadership, let them know. Let them know just how much you appreciate them. It means the world to the dads out there. All right, out of thatparkplace.com, folks, click the like button, and here we go. Media reports Snow White is the #1 movie on Disney Plus following its debut. But is Rachel Zegler really a comeback kid? Now, as we get into this, I just want to say that poor Rachel Zegler, everybody needs some grace. Everybody needs some redemption. Now, this young starlet, she caused her co-star to need extra security and put her life allegedly at risk. However, all of that said, it's been a while since we've heard from Zegler. She's went quiet. Maybe her publicist has recommended some good ideas to her, and maybe she's finally listening after crossing over the precipice of her end of career at such a young age. Now, all of that said, folks, the Disney media, they're the ones making me do this. I'm not trying to pick on Zegler. I'm ready to let her sunset for a while, and then she can come back if she wants to, like a phoenix, rising from the ashes of her bad mistakes. That's up to her. She gets to decide whether she's going to make good decisions or bad decisions. Undoubtedly, she's damaged her career, but everybody gets to decide what the next right steps might be. Now, that said, the mainstream media and Disney, they're out there declaring a win, and we've got to look at this, okay? So Zegler's back in a pro video. Disney is rolling out the red carpet for Snow White, but it's not the kind you'd expect, with the live-action remake starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Having arrived on Disney Plus on June 11th, which was just 4 days ago, the studio was quick to highlight a not-so-surprising fact. The movie soared to the #1 spot on every major Disney Plus chart worldwide within days. However, there's a very important caveat to make here, and we're going to get to it in just a moment. All right, Troy Lyon has this, and this looks to be the originating data point that caused all these stories to happen. And one of the biggest purveyors of this was Screen Rant. We'll just put that out there. You can go look it up. But this post by @SorioJoshua says, opening Disney Plus today, I did not like seeing this. I wanted this movie to flop like it did in the movie theater. This is a trash, awful movie to me. Unfortunately, the Snow White remake has got trending #1 on Disney Plus. Hashtag Snow White, hashtag Disney Plus, the old OG animated Snow White, better to me. Well, you know what, Troy Lyon, we agree with you, but fret not yet, sir. For we have good news on the way. You see, ladies and gentlemen, what we need to let you know is that the top 10 list for Disney Plus appears to be a bunch of nonsense to us. I'm going to read this paragraph and then explain it to you, but don't think for a minute that just because something appears as the #1 top trending on Disney Plus that it's true. Unlike other streaming services, this is much to do about very little. It should be very clearly stated that Disney Plus has a top 10 list. But our understanding is that it does not in any way correlate to actual viewers or view time. Oh, how very Disney of them, eh? If that were the case, Bluey would be at the top every single week. Let me say it again, folks. If the top 10 for Disney Plus was real, Bluey would be at the top every day, every hour, every minute. And the reason is because Bluey dominates. And remember, Disney doesn't make Bluey, although they're going to distribute the film. Disney doesn't make Bluey. It comes out of Australia, right? Disney got the licensing rights domestically, and good on them for doing that, because otherwise Disney Plus would be in a very dire place right now. It's still not doing great, but it would be very, very dire. So Disney has the Bluey rights, right? Okay. Bluey would be #1 every day because Bluey is so much bigger than anything else on Disney Plus that if you were to compare Bluey alone versus everything Marvel and everything Star Wars, Bluey would beat both of those. Bluey is big enough that it would rightfully have its own tab at the top of Disney Plus, except that that would be excruciatingly embarrassing to Disney. But it would be right if they had a Pixar tab, a Star Wars tab, a Marvel tab, Disney Animation tab, and right there, bold and beautiful, Bluey, a Bluey tab, because Bluey beats all those things. All right, so the fact that Bluey isn't ever in the top 10, at least not very often, says to us, this is a marketing thing. Disney picks and chooses. Disney curates this list. We believe, curates that, picks it for their own purposes. It says, that said, we do expect Nielsen and or Illuminate will show Snow White to have achieved at least decent numbers in its first week on streaming. Why wouldn't it? There's no cost to viewers for tuning in and viewing something that they likely didn't go see in theaters. And that's true. And look at these dislikes. 900,000 essentially, and it crossed 1 million. This thing was flooded with dislikes. It was a box office flop. But, you know, what Disney's trying to do here, and I guess we'll say a little bit more about it. What Disney's trying to do here is they're trying to say, well, you know, the first 3 days, it's been number 1 on Disney Plus. Well, okay. Yeah. For the first 3 days, when a movie lands, I can definitely see that people would tune in. Sure. Now, does that mean that Disney made any money off that? No, there's no ads playing on Snow White. Does that mean that new subscribers came in and joined Disney Plus because of this? No, none, probably 0 subscribers. In fact, you might have lost a few subscribers just from seeing the darn thing, right? So what's the real play here? Why is Disney doing this? Why are they and their friends in the access and legacy media trying to proclaim that Snow White is the number 1 movie after 3 days, right? They took the first 3 days because they can't wait a week. Because it's not definitive that after 1 week they can say, it's number 1 for its first week. So they got to take the first 3 days. All right, so here's the game plan we believe. Damage control via streaming. By shepherding Snow White quickly to Disney Plus, the studio is clearly hoping that the convenience of home viewing combined with curiosity over controversy in casting and reshape the public narrative. A tried and true method for Disney to move a flop to streaming and there claim that it caught new life, new momentum, a new lease on success, all while never really giving us the sort of justification that analysts would want to believe it. Streaming success stories, especially for films that underperform theatrically, are increasingly part of Disney's playbook. Business Insider notes that the studio is banking on streaming, VOD rentals, ABC freeform airings, theme park tie-ins, and merchandise to salvage profitability. Flix Patrol's number 1 ranking suggests this strategy may be paying off, at least in terms of headline numbers. However, just like with Parrot Analytics, we remain extraordinarily skeptical of rubrics and data analysis groups that use nebulous internet buzz to justify economic failure. Shareholders, it turns out, just aren't paid in internet buzz. Now, this is a game that we've seen happen over and over as well, right? What they do is they say to you, hey, there are a lot of people talking about this movie, and we've got these companies that tell us that a lot of people are talking about this movie online. Now, we're not going to really get in there and dive into whether or not these are bots, trolls, paid for, etc. We're just going to tell you lots and lots of people are talking about this. And therefore, this sucker's a success. Ignore the money. Just please ignore the money. The problem with doing that, ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, is that sometimes people are talking about your movie or your TV show online because it's bad, because it's real bad. And they're doing what we call digital rubbernecking. Just like people will slow down to see what's happening with a wreck, and that's sometimes the largest part of what's slowing down traffic on the interstate. Sometimes people are just slowing down to look at the catastrophe that you've created online, and they're talking about it. And Snow White is clearly one of those. The flood of dislikes would be an example of people stopping to take note of just how bad something is. Now, should we take somebody watching a video and then disliking it as an example of popularity? Of course not. But some of these other companies do. And they use that to make people confused, to form a narrative. All right. So it's got $205 million worldwide gross versus a $240 to $270 million budget originally. That was the original budget out of Tech Radar. Again, that's the original budget. Okay? It's not the cost. The cost is, and we talk about this in the article, the cost is something like $370 million allegedly. And then that's not including marketing. So this thing lost hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But in the streaming environment, is it a new Encanto? That's what people want to know. Is this Encanto? Because Encanto was legitimately a box office flop that legitimately became a legitimate streaming success. And the reason that we know that it became a streaming success is because once it hit Disney Plus during the pandemic era, Encanto's songs and soundtrack launched to the top, and suddenly people were buying the music. Okay? Let me ask you this. Do you see or hear anyone listening to and even purchasing the Snow White soundtrack? If the answer is no, then you already know that this story, this narrative that's being put forth to us, is a bunch of streaming spin. Snow White is not winning. Will it be number one on Nielsen for Disney Plus or for all movies? Yes, for a week. Does that mean that made money for Disney? No. So if the goal here is to get people to tune in for 30 minutes to see how bad something was, goal achieved. If the goal is that a movie makes its money back and beyond, goal not achieved. Sorry, Rachel Zegler. Sorry, Disney. But here on the Pro Channel, we are not easily deceived, and neither are our viewers. Now, we got to say this too, though, okay? We got to say this. Folks, if you're Disney, if I'm Disney, would I be doing the same thing here? Now, I'm all about transparency. I'm all about honesty. That's what we do. That's what we're up to here. And that said, if I'm a corporation and this is marketing, I'm not here to tell you that I would act differently if I were marketing and trying to get the narrative to change. I want people to not think that I put out this horrific flop. I don't want to leave Zegler and Gal Gadot's careers damaged by this thing. So there's a lot of interest in Disney trying to flip the script on this. Does that mean that Disney's in the wrong to do that? No. That's what all companies do, right? Even Coca-Cola probably tries to spin somehow new Coke, which, well, very quickly became old Coke. So the fact that Snow White went broke, Disney doesn't want you to know that. And that's okay for a corporation. That's okay. It's our job to cut through and let you know what's really going on. And that's what we're here to do today on this beautiful Father's Day. And now you know that Snow White is still a flop, despite what the media might say. All right, folks, thank you for coming our way. We're happy to give you a dose of reality. And now you can tell your friends what's really going on at the House of Disney. Like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on all of this. And folks, it really does matter when you join the chatter. Give us those comments. Tell us why you care. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, we hope we'll see you on the Pro Show as well as New Rock Radio this week. The response to New Rock Radio has been phenomenal. We are so inspired by you. Many of you reaching out to say how much you enjoy it, but not only that, people reaching out to say, can I contribute in some way? I want to make music. Fantastic again. We hear you. We see you. Plans on the way. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
You know what? I don't even care this time.
Well, you should know that I'm preparing to...
Nope, I said I don't care. Whatever you're doing, I don't care.
You don't want to know that I'm auditioning for a Pro's new rock station on New Rock Radio?
Nope.
You don't want to know that he now has Vacation Radio and New Rock Radio on Prelude Studios, which used to be Vacation Radio, but is now so much more?
Well, maybe.
You don't want to know that I purchased this guitar and these sunglasses using the credit card that you humorously labeled for emergency uses only?
Wait, what? You did what?
Oh, see, now you're taking interest in my passions and abilities. Okay, so Jose, you're sure that we ordered the $10,000 drum kit before Floral canceled the credit card?
It did, Miss Dripset. Check.
Nice. Okay. Oh, and the didgeridoo? That will increase in value so that Floral can send his kids to college?
Academia. Oh, that's it.
Why is there a didgeridoo on the front porch? I'm gonna Bury that little troll.
Jose,
Oh.
Google how to play didgeridoo. We're gonna need to justify this somehow.